Hello, my name is Kevin Schusler. I'm Assembly Manager, Head of Technical Assistance for Command Lite. In this video today, we're going to show you how to either upgrade or to install a brand new version 3 holster box. So the tools you'll need for this basically is the screwdriver that we send you with your light tower, or just a very fine flat-bladed screwdriver. Just some kind of knife to trim the sheathing off of the control cable, and then just a pair of wire strippers. So when you receive your light tower or your upgrade, you'll basically get your holster box. You'll just remove the 4 mounting screws on the front. This will allow you to open this up to get to the circuit board. So for an upgrade, you will already have your control cable routed through your truck that went into your previous versions. On a new one, you're going to have to start from scratch. So basically what I do is take this cable in and get to the bottom of the holster box. That'll give me plenty of it, and then I just kind of mark that wire where it needs to go. Then I'll bring this out, and at this point here, or you can push it all the way through. It's a little easier to push it all the way through sometimes, I believe. And then go ahead and you'll just cut the sheathing off, being careful not to hit any of the control wires. Peel this outer sheathing off. Once you're inside here, there'll be a wrap on the control cable. Just go ahead and remove all of these extra insulation in your way. Now if you're doing a retrofit, this will already be done, and in your other one all you'll have to do is pull it out of your first holster and then reinsert the wires back into this one. Go ahead and cut off the braiding twine, then you're down to your color wires. So in here there's a bunch of connectors that basically pull in and plug out. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and remove these. Wiggling them back and forth helps a little bit to get them out of there. Having little fingers helps too. Okay, so I always start up here at the very top one. You'll go ahead and just using the supplied schematic, you'll go ahead and put these wire colors in the correct order into this black one. Basically, this is just all of your motion, also your power, and the initial surge to start auto park sequence. I've got these, the first connector's wires separated from the rest, so then you'll just take your wire strippers, strip off fairly good length, and what I like to do is double these up just to get a nice good bite on them. So once you get those stripped off, I'll start with the first one, which will be a red with a black stripe. And strip that off, double it up. And then that will go into the first port of the connector. So you'll just put that into the top right there, then using the small flat bladed screwdriver, just go ahead and tighten that down nice and securely on it. Give it a nice tug to make sure that it's biting down and holding. Then you'll go ahead and just do the rest of them in order off of the schematic. Okay, I've got all of the wires in the correct order into this pin connector. Go ahead and then you can pull your cable back just till the sheathing's gone, and just kind of give it a little snug down to hold that into place at that length. Then you'll just go ahead and insert the plug right back into its connector. These are easy to get one over, so just make sure that it's nice and flush on both sides, and then you'll be sure you're lining up correctly with the contact pin. Then you just proceed to your next connector, and so on down all the way through all the different plugs. The next one that you'll be doing, this gray one here, or the gray white, they are actually all color coded, so you can't get the wrong number pin in anything. So basically they'll match color for color. So we'll go ahead and do this. This is basically your light banks and your strobe. Now we've got this second connector hooked up. Two things I wanted to mention here. Basically these three here are your lamps. This is your strobe. What the blue with the red stripe is it is an auxiliary power wire. This will be hooked into this port here unless you are tying in to a dual control system. Then it goes to a different spot. There's another schematic for that. And what that'll do is that pulses and that will switch between this controller and your VMUX, your wireless, whatever your other controller may be. But for standard hookup, this is where that will go. Again, once you get these hooked up, go ahead and press them in. Also, when I'm wiring a new tower, I always do the holster controller box first. And then wire it up into the tower. On a refurb, the tower will already be wired and coming down. Just make sure that all of your truck power is off. These wires will be active, so any of the hot wires will be carrying 12 volt DC through it, and possibility of causing a spark or shorting or possibly even burning up the board. So just make sure your truck power is off and you'll be fine with the retrofit. Then we'll go ahead and proceed to the next one. This is just a power wire. It's just a single black with a white stripe into the green connector. The rest of those are left blank. And this will just go into the fourth pin down or the second pin up. And go ahead, put that connector back in. The next one will be your black 5-pin. And this one here is basically your sensor. So it'll be your nest, your center, your elevated warning, and then also your ground coming from the tower. Okay, so now we've got all of these hooked up. These guys will just go into the black connector. Plugs in. The last wire you'll have in there is a red with a white. This is a very critical. There are 3 power wires in here, actually 4 if you count the blue red. This is one of these power wires. This will go into the center port right here on the schematic, but it also does require both above and below it. So above it, what you will do is you will bring in your vehicle ground to the port above, and then vehicle power down below. What this does is it keeps this board and a sensor active, so if your generator shut off on an AC tower, everything stays active to give you your elevated cab warning. The last pin is just the black 3-pin connector. It goes over here. There is nothing supplied from the tower for it. It is simply your tie-in to your truck elevated warning. So on the lower port of that, basically you will bring, that will be your control wire back to your elevated warning device. Then the second one, the middle port on this connector will be whatever your elevated warning system is looking for. So if you want a positive to come back out on your signal wire, you'll put a positive in here. It's the same with a negative. A negative in here will give you a negative out whenever this tower is elevated. Once you get those hooked up, you can just go ahead and repin that one. There is a port both at the top and the bottom for you to bring in your power, your ground, and your signal wires. Once this has all been fully hooked up, you can go ahead and power up your truck or hook up the truck port of that. Once you're energized, there are a couple of LED indicator lights in here, a green and a red. A pulsing green is a good deal. That shows that the board is communicating with the controller, that it's getting all the correct powers that it needs, both from the tower and from your truck supplied voltages. And once you get the green light, then you'll be okay to go ahead and just close it up. I take some wire ties. I do like to leave the loops in there just in case somebody down the road would have to mess with something. It's always nice to have a little extra wire in there, so I just tied it up nice and clean with some wire ties, then just go ahead and reapply the lid of your holster box. This here is basically showing you just how to hook up the hand controllers to these holsters. The ones you have will be this version here. We have just now come out with this newer one. It's a little more user friendly. And what we were finding, these are basically just Cat5 ports that go into a Cat5 connector right here. Very simple, they just plug in and click and lock. There's also the little release tag. The trick to these is When you put this in, you have to get that tab into that little notch there. If you do not, it will break that tab off and you'll get intermittent functions, and basically you'll end up having to get a new coil cord. So once you have that into that little slot, then you will just go ahead, line it up, and you'll feel it go. As soon as you get it to that point, push it down and then lock this guy in. Then you got a nice sturdy, both the Cat 5 clip and this connector are holding that strain relief. The same works, identical, same principle on your hand controller. It'll be the same deal there. To remove these, you simply just loosen up the strain relief, slide your cable out, and press the clip. Same process, we're going back into the notch. Back up into the controller. Press down, make sure that clicks, and then go ahead and tighten those down. And then you can tighten this nut down very nice and tight, and that'll secure that. The new ones, since we were getting a lot of these broken off by people not getting them into that slot, we came out with this one. Much easier for a customer to do, that you don't have to make sure anything's lined up. They're just, go ahead and you mate these two till they lock into each other, and then just begin screwing this down in its inner thread on this one, and that will hook up this new version of controller for you. And then you're set to go.